Daf Samaches Amud Beis will begin Daf Samaches Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the bottom. Continue on with the Inyan of Tchis HaMesim. Tonu Rabbanon, the pasuk says, Ani Amis v'achayet, that the Rebbeinu Shem says, I put to death and I give life. So Yochal Misabech v'chayim be'echad kederach she'olam noeg. She might think it's referring to two different people. One person Rebbeinu Shem puts to death. There's a different person that is born, that is given life. Talmud Loimar, no. It says, Machatzi v'anai erpa. It also says that I have wounded, I cause a wound, and I heal it. So, Ma makir refu be'echa, just like the makir was the same person. The person that has the wound, Rebbeinu Shalom heals it. Af misa v'chayim be'echad, misa v'chayim is also referring to the same person, which means that the person that Kosh Baruch Hu put to death, but then he will revive that same person. He will give life to that person. Because here you see that the pasuk does teach us that there's Tchis HaMesim, so there's an answer for those who say that it's not referred to in the Torah. We see that it is. Different pshat, that not referring to this inyan, betchila mash ani memis ani mechayim. Originally, there is Tchis HaMesim. Then v'hadar mash machatzi vani erpat. And then the wounded I will heal. Meaning, it's teaching us something else. The Tchis HaMesim is understood to be a given. But what it's telling us over here, that the order the Seder HaDvarim is that first there's Tchis HaMesim. Now a person who died, let's say he had a certain mum, he was blind, he was lame, etc. He is revived. The Tchis HaMesim is in the same manner that, and when he died, with that mum. But then after that, the second stage is Machatzi Vaneir, that he will be healed from that mum. Coming back to the inyan of a Yudala that falls out on Shabbos, what can be done, what things are Mechal Shabbos for, and what we are not. The Hekter Chalava, it says that we are makter the Chalavim, the fat of the korban on the Mizbeach, even though it's Shabbos, it's Teicha Shabbos. Tanya, we learn the Brisa, Amarim Shimon, Boyre, Kama Chaviva Mitzvah Shaita. Look and see how chaviv, how precious it is, a mitzvah in its proper time. Really, this burning of the fat can be done after Shabbos. It can be done the whole night. But nevertheless, we say that you burn it on Shabbos. We don't wait until nighttime. We burn it on Shabbos. Now, it could have been pushed off until the nighttime, but we don't. We burn it on Shabbos, and it's Teicha Shabbos. So therefore, you see, Chaviv Mitzvah B'Shaita. It's Chaviv the Mitzvah B'Shaita that we don't delay it, and we do it on that time. The korban is Teicha Shabbos, so therefore the korban that's Teicha the Shabbos, the shlit of the korban is Teicha Shabbos. The korban itself is Teicha Shabbos. We say therefore even the burning of the fast, which did not have to be done on Shabbos, but it's also Teicha Shabbos. Chaviva Mitzvah B'Shaita. However, the Mishnah said that and the carrying of the korban and bringing it from outside the tchum and cutting off a yabeles and cutting off the wart, those things are not Teicha Shabbos. It had a wart, the yabeles, the animal, is a balmum. You can't use it for a korban. Cutting it off is not Teicha Shabbos, but Rabbi Lezer says it is. Minu, I'll ask you a stira. The Mishnah in Erevin says, it says that it is mutter in the Beis HaMikdash. It is mutter, not outside the Beis HaMikdash, but in the Beis HaMikdash is mutter. But to use a kli, an instrument, is awesome. But al koponim, without a kli, it's mutter in the Beis HaMikdash. That we see that it's mutter, and we're talking in our case over here, we're talking the Beis HaMikdash, we're talking for the purpose of the korban, and we're talking the Beis HaMikdash, and our Tana says that it's awesome. So it seems to be a stira. So Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, they both answer it. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, they both answer the question. Chad Amar Idi Biyad. One of them said that in both cases, both in our mission, the mission Erevin, we're talking where the removal of the avelis was done by hand. One is talking where it's lacha, where it's moist. That's in our Mishnah, and b'yavesha, and in Erevin it's talking where it's dry. Meaning, the removal of the avelis, cutting of the avelis, is included in goizes, in shearing. He's removing it from the body of the animal. If he does it with a kli, and it's lacha, and it's moist, that would be a deraisa. If he does it by hand, that's a d'Rabbanan. Since it's a d'Rabbanan, it's kalacher yad. It's also midrabbanan. Our Mishnah answers it. It says he can't do it. It's also because he could have done it by Erev Shabbos. Now, even though it's in the Mikdash, but since he could have done it by Erev Shabbos, we don't apply the rule of Ein Shvus B'Mikdash. The Mishnah in Erevin is talking where it's yavation, where it's dry. Where it's dry, there's no malacha of geizes. It just crumbles. So it's not considered shearing. So therefore, it's mutter. Why is it aser bekli? The Mishnah says, in bekli kan aser. Because with a kli, it resembles, it's doimet to a malacha of geizes. Because geizes is done with a kli onto the body of the animal. So that's one approach. The Chadamar and the other one said, both cases we're talking about it's moist. But the difference is, in our Mishnah, we're talking whether it's a kli. If it's a kli, it's a malacha deraisa. It's malacha, it's a kli, it's a deraisa. And it's not daicha Shabbos, even in the Mikdash, you could have done it before. But the Mishnah Erevin is talking where it's done biyad. And if it's done biyad, even though it's an Issur D'Rabbanan, here, according to this Mandomer, we do say Ein Shvus B'Mikdash, even though we could have done it the day before. Frag the Gemara Mandomer ha biyad ha b'kli, my taima loy omar idi biyad. Why doesn't he learn like the other one and say idi biyad v'loy kash ha b'locha ha b'yavesha? Amrlach, he says to you, Yavesha mifrach precha. He'll answer, he says, no, we're not talking in a case where it's Yavesha, because if it's dry, it crumbles. And therefore, since it crumbles, we can't be talking in such a case. What's the pshat? So l'chayra, there's two ways of learning it. There's Taisus' way of learning it, which is, since it crumbles, even if it's done with a kli, it would be mutter. Now, the Mishnah says clearly that with the kli, it's also. So therefore, you can't say that we're talking about Yavesha, because if it crumbles, it's not, he holds that if it just crumbles, it's not considered geizes at all, even with the kli. Even if the kli wouldn't be considered geizes. So therefore, we can't be talking about Yavesha. We have to be talking about Belacha, and to make a chilek between Haviyad and Bekli. Another way of learning it is, and this is mashma from Rashi, that Yavesha mifrach pricha, that if it's Yavesha, it just crumbles, so it can't even be considered cutting. It ain't chaytchim means cutting. This just crumbles away. You can't even consider it to be cutting. Therefore, we would not be referring to chaytchim in a manner, in a case where it's Yavesha, where it just crumbles. According to the one who says that both cases we're talking about by hand, my time and why doesn't he hold like the Mandomer and make that chilik? He says, Kli, it says over there, it says clearly in the Mishnah in Erevin, in Bekli, kan v'kan also. It says clearly in the Mishnah Erevin that in Bekli, kan v'kan also. So there'd be no need for our Tana to tell me, this case over here, to tell me that it's also referring to a case of Kli. I know that Bekli is also. The Idach, and the other one says, Hadik Tana Kli Hacha. The reason why our Tana mentions this case and teaches me Kli, that Bekli it's also, I know that from the Mishnah Berevin, because Plukta the Rebbe Rabbi Yeshua Asalashmina, and he wants to tell me this Machlekes, Rebbe Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua, that it's a Machlekes, and over here, he's teaching us that, yes, Rabbi Yeshua answers, but Rabbi Lezer says it's mutim. Zog the Gemara weiter, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Umay im shchita. So Rabbi Lezer said to Rabbi Yeshua, how could you say that these things are not Deicha Shabbos? Ma'im shchita, which is the rice, is the Deicha Shabbos for the Korban Pesach. Certainly these, which are the Rabbanan, bringing it from outside the Tchum, etc., certainly it should be Deicha Shabbos. Or Yeshua answered to that, he said, well, we see from Yontiv, not that way. We see that there are certain deraisas that are Deicha, cooking on Yontiv, etc., but the Rabbanans bringing from outside the Tchum is not Deicha. It's not Deicha Yontiv. Rabbi Lanzer answers to Yeshua, how can you make a comparison from a Rishus to a mitzvah? Over here it's a chiyuv. The Korban Pesach is a chiyuv, so it's Deicha, it's Deicha the Deraisa, certainly should be Deicha the Rabbanan. How can you bring a raya from the case over there, which is the Rishus? And therefore, even though the Rabbanan were mamid their Divreim over there, but that's a Rishus, here where it's a chayva for the Korban Pesach, therefore we should say this Kal V'chaymer. Now what does Rabbi Yeshua answer to this? So the Gemara says as follows. Rabbi Yeshua Tameh, he says, no, your chiluk is not a chiluk. Your taina is not a chiluk. The Omer Simchas Yontiv Nami Mitzvah, because he holds Simchas Yontiv is also a mitzvah. It's also a mitzvah. It's not a rishus. So therefore, you can show from Yontiv, we can prove from Yontiv that just because it's Deicha D'Oraisa, it doesn't mean it's Deicha D'Rabbanan. The Tanya, where do we see this machlek is? Rabbi Lezer Aimer, Ein Lo Elohim B'Yontiv, Elo Oichel V'Shoisa, Yosef V'Sheina. Rabbi Lezer says a person doesn't necessarily have to eat and drink on Yontiv. He doesn't have a chayv gomor to eat and drink on Yontiv. He can be Mekayim Simchas Yontiv by learning a whole day. Rabbi Yeshua says no. Rabbi Yeshua says no. There has to be a component of achila v'shtiya. You have to split it. You have to divide it. So we see over here that Rabbi Lezer says that the eating and drinking on Yontiv is not necessarily a chayva. You can be mekayim the mitzvah with learning a whole day. So therefore, it's considered the rishus. Rabbi Yeshua says no. You must have a chil of shlit to be mekayim the mitzvah. So Yontiv is also a mitzvah, and therefore you can bring a raya from Yontiv to our case over here. They both darshan from one pasuk. One pasuk says there's a sheres LaShem Elokecha. It should be for Hashem because of echad oimer atzeres tia lachem. It says that it should be an atzeres for you. It should be for you. So how do we understand it? So Rabbi Lezer, he says oikula LaShem, oikula lachem. It's Lashem, there's a Lashem, and there is Lachem. It means either or. Either that you have it, you can learn a whole day and be Mekayim it, which is Lashem, or you can eat and drink a whole day and be Mekayim the mitzvah, which is Lachem. You can be Mekayim it either which way, but over Yeshua Savar you can't. Chalkeu, Chesed Lashem, Chesed Lachem. It has to be divided. So therefore, Yeshua Latameh, that he holds, that is a chayiv to have a chila v'shtiya on Yontiv. Therefore, you could bring a raya from Yontiv. Abam Siman. Amar Rabbi Lezer, Abam Siman, Akol Meidim Bat Seres, to be an Amalachem. Rabbi Lezer says that on Shuas, everyone is Meida that you need Lachem. Therefore, everyone agrees that there also has to be a component that it's for you. My timer, Yom Shenitim B'Torah. It's the day that the Torah was given. Meaning, so we have to show that we're happy with the Torah, we rejoice with the Torah. And it's a simcha for us. As Rabbeinu Dovid says, it's not an all for us. Amar Rabba, Kol Meidim B'Shabbos, to be an Lachem. Everyone agrees on Shabbos. Also, you need Lachem. My time, the pasuk says, V'Karasol Shabbos Einik. It has to be an Einik, so you have to have a Chila V'Shtiyah. Rav Yosef Purim also that you need a component for yourself. My time Yemei Mishta v'Simcha Ksiva. It says Mishta v'Simcha. So therefore you have to have a Chila v'Shtiyah. The Marshal says the Ikarai is from the Mishta because Simcha could be from learning, but it says Mishta. He would be fast the entire year. Labar Matzata o Purio o Mala Yom Kippur, except for Shavuos and Purim and Erev Yom Kippur. Atzeres, why did he fast? Because Yom Shinditan B'Ter. So, like we said, to show the simcha of the day of the giving of the Torah. Puria on Purim, Yemei Mishtav Simcha Ksiv. Mala Yom Kippura on Erev Yom Kippur. What's the reason? The Tanech Bara Midifti. It says it says you should fast on the 9th day of the month, the 9th day of Tisha. You don't fast on the 9th, you fast on the 10th. So this Gemara is not going according to the Ma'am Domar that says we learn out from here Taisus Yom Kippur. So he says, why does it say 9? We fast on the 10th. To teach you that if someone eats and drinks on the 9th day, it's as if he fasted for the 9th and the 10th. Meaning the fast starts on the 10th and you eat on the 9th. Why does it call that fasting? If you eat and on the 9th, it's like you fasted. It's as if you fasted. So you see that there's a mitzvah to eat and drink. So there's different shatim of why it's like you fasted. Some say because it facilitates the fast, because now it enables you to have the strength to go through the day in fasting. Some say that it is because that opposite. Some Meforshim say that it's opposite. It's because if he eats on the day before, eats a lot on the day before, it makes the fasting more difficult. So it increases the fast. It makes it more difficult. It makes the fast more difficult. Others say the pshat is that it's a simcha because it's a simcha for the fact that now we want to show the simcha that we have, that we're going to a day of tzmei slicha v'kapara. So it shows that how happy we are that we're coming to a day of slicha kapara. That's what Rabbeinu Dovid says. The Shem Shmuel says a slight variation of that pshat, and he says is that we're showing the simcha that we're roy pnei HaMelech, that we're coming to Yom Kippur and that we're coming close to the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So we're showing our simcha that we're coming to the Kodesh Baruch Hu, where the Shekhinah that is more revealed and we're coming closer. So we show Erev Yom Kippur how special it is and the simcha that we have in it. Rav Yosef on a day of Shavuos, he would say, "Avdul Iga Tilsa, prepare for me a third-born calf." The meat was very good, a third-born or a third of its growth. He said, "Prepare for me an Iga Tilsa." Omer, he said, "Ilav haYom Kagarim, if not for this day that caused me to learn, Kama Yosef Iga B'Shuka." There are many Yosef. There are many people Yosef in the shuk. It gives me this chashivas I have. The chashivas I have in life is because of the Torah. So he showed that chashivas for Shavuos. Rav Sheshes is called Tlos and Yomi Masechet Talmud. He would chazer over his learning every 30 days. He would stand and lean on the bolt of the door. And he said, "Chadoi nashay, chadoi nashay." He says, my nefesh should rejoice. I learned for you, I read for you, I learn for you, the Mikra, the Mishnah, for you, for my nefesh. What do you mean of Amar Velazari, Mala Torah, Loinis Kamish, Shemayim Voras? He says, if not for the Torah, there wouldn't be Shemayim Voras, Shenemar, Imlai Vrisi, Yom Velayla. If not for my bris of Yom Velayla, Chuka Shemayim Voras, Leisamti, I wouldn't have the laws, the statutes of the heaven and earth. Meaning the Torah is Mekayim, the Koloim Kula. So why is he saying it? Chadoi Nafshoy, L'cha Kore, L'cha Tani, for you, it's for the whole world. The more answers ain't a chanami, but me korah ki ovid inish and died to the nafshe ka ovid. Enechanami. It is for the kiyum of the whole world, but the initial stage, the first stage is for himself. He undertakes it with himself, and then it progresses. It's the kiyum for the whole world.